Hello, it's Greg and guys. We're back. We hope you're having a happy day wherever you're watching this video content from. As always, we'd like to thank you for your continued support of Gregors and Guides in social media and writing efforts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome back. As always, today, an unsugar-coated, unsanitized mentor talk. Not helping you get a job in Japan. That's perhaps easier than ever, but building a life here. At its core, an entertainment perspective. First and foremost, for our social media, Greg Resident Gaijin brand, Craig Hoffman 11 on X, and thank you as always for your likes, shares, and follows there. Your life is yours to live. Every situation is different, and information and things here in the world, and especially in Japan, change quickly and often. Don't take it for gospel. That disclaimer aside, here we go. If you're thinking about working in Japan as a foreigner, you've probably seen the practical videos, not unlike this one, and others that we have done, and a zillion others that have been done by well-meaning, mostly, content creators living here in Japan and abroad. Things like, what visa do I need? It depends. Do I need the JLPT, the Japanese language proficiency test? Probably more than ever these days, to be honest. How do I apply? A variety of paths to do that as well. And we have done content on that, as well as then on our blog, YouTube channel, and again, Craig Hoffman 11 on Twitter and X now, if that's your thing to call it that. But those are important, to be sure. But today I want to talk about something deeper, not how to get hired, but how to think about building a life here. And that's been something that's been successful in 20 plus years here for me and complete and utter failure. But I have survived, thrived at times, and withered and wilted under the pressure of living and working in Japan. Because employment in Japan is not just a job decision, it's a life decision. And there are questions I wish more people had asked themselves early on, and certainly more things that I wish I would have personally known. Perhaps, to be truthful, I would not have come to Japan at all, and certainly not stayed for more than 20 years. Why are you really here? The first question is simple but powerful. It was for me back in 2005. No job in America, no prospects for a job, particularly that helped me pay off student loan debt, of which I had a lot, car loans, rent, and all the rest. I was about 2 months away, as I've said in other content, from bankruptcy. I sold everything I owned, my car, got some new teeth, and came to Japan on a flight that I put on a credit card for what I thought was a good opportunity, and it was. But do you come here for culture? I knew little about Japan beyond sushi, samurai, ninja, and their Karate Kid. Safety, I assumed Japan was safe and I wouldn't get mugged every day. Although, sadly, that is changing in certain areas of Japan, especially as a foreigner. That's another video. Adventure. Certainly my life in Midwest Ohio was boring. I was looking for something a little exciting. I remember saying, at least it's not here, my hometown area. No offense. A fresh start, to be sure. I was 29, a little older than most who come here. I figured it couldn't be any worse, and hopefully it would be better. And all of those ideals and ideas that I had in 2005, true. But sometimes we move to countries because we're trying to escape something, and I was. My job situation, terrible. My relationship situation, non-existent. My family struggling through a lot. America changing into what it is now, for better or worse. Escapism was a real thing for me. I could lie, but it was. I remember stepping off the plane at Kansai International Airport, the smell of Japan, and thinking, never again. Insert being a nobody. Japan can be a wonderful place to grow. Early, my job was great. Apartment was free. Made a lot of friends. A lot of foreigners lived in the same building. They came and went, and I made new friends, saved some money, got out of debt, felt good about my life, met someone. But it doesn't erase who you are. It just gives you a new setting. A lot of people have come here over the years and talked to me, even myself. I'm going to run away from my problems and nothing is going to go wrong. And at times in 2005 to let's say 2010, life seemed rather perfect for me. I thought I had outrun all that plagued me in America. And to a degree, I had. When money is not your problem, it solves a lot of problems. Money isn't everything, but it solves a lot of problems. And in relationships, money doesn't buy you love, but here in Japan, it can kind of rent it and perhaps to a degree find it long term. And that's not uncommon even in America these days. Marrying for love, marrying for money, and security can be very different things, but not necessarily completely mutually exclusive. But there's another important reflection. Do you love Japan? I did. Or do you love the idea of Japan? I do. The idea is beautiful. Himeji Castle, Himeji Marathon, as I record this on Sunday this weekend. I might go. I used to run a lot, not these days. But the reality is structured. Early, I was a little younger. Job was set. Life was set. Housing was set. The system benefited such a person coming here, teaching English, and going home. But it is slow moving at times. How many times I have been to immigration to update my visa? Now a permanent resident. A process. And then the newness, I remember like my third year, the newness dissipated. The classes became the same. The job became very much the same. The adventures became theme and variation on going out with pals, drinking, eating, and coming home on the last train. And there's nothing wrong with that at all at 29, 30, 31, 32, or even younger, as many people are in Japan, especially from a Western, American, Canadian, Australian, New Zealand, not to leave anybody out, perspective, but I talk from my own. And I asked myself, albeit gently, if Japan stopped being cool, would I still choose it? And I said yes, because I had found someone. Yes, because we wanted to build a life together. And yes, because they wanted to stay here for a variety of reasons, all legitimate. And I gave up friends, family, and country for that. Because long-term life decisions here need a deeper foundation than just looking good on paper. And that can be easy in the days and times of social media, which was growing exponentially 2005, 6, 7, and 8, and 9. I got an email just this week that my blog is 21 years old. Wow. Which means I'm old. And my life here in Japan has been long. Then we move to the next phase, ego, of which I probably have a little as I'm on social media. Gray, grizzled, and gaijin up here for more than 10 years as a brand, and again, more than 20 years as an expat blogger. Many foreigners arrive accomplished. I'm not a village idiot. I have a graduate degree, top of my class. I came here on a Sister Cities program as the man in a town. I've written several books, more than 2,000 blogs. I'm on Craig Hoffman 11 on Twitter with more than 11,700 followers. I get around. It's great. Plus one. That and a cup of coffee, which is expensive here, by the way. Degrees, experience, and confidence. I had degrees, I had experience. Confidence in 2005, perhaps not a lot after coming and really arriving with little to nothing to my name. But the job was good. The title was good. and the connections and kind of appearance of Craig, that's me, was good for the first 5 years for sure. But the job was basic, helping the community, cultural relations, and being an assistant language teacher at a junior high school, elementary school, and some kindergartens as I rotated around. This was before now all the dispatch does a lot of that. But I did it all, and I did it well. And I put a lot of effort into that. I was the first teacher at the school beyond the gym coach who unlocked it at 6:32. I was there at 6:34 with an Ohio gozaimasu for 5 years. They kept my picture on the screensaver of the computer until the computer broke, I heard. Again, not a humble brag, reality of what you can be here if you wish. But the job was assisting in the classroom. And sometimes that was a lot. And sometimes it was standing up saying, hello, everyone. And 45 to 50 minutes later saying, that's all for today. See you next time. And that can be humbling when you think you have more to offer, especially after the first year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year, and God forbid, into the fifth year, which the JET program, for example, now and later in my time switched. I was not a JET, but I was a former JET job, basically the same kind of deal, if you know that program. Still probably one of the best ways to come over. Are you okay being average? So I finished that job, contract limits. I could not continue. I'm unemployed for a year. I'm back to being poor Craig. And it hurt. I kind of cut away from a lot of the connections of that community organization I had come over with, and even the local community here. Poor Craig, no job. Married. And responsibilities came quickly with that, as it does when you stay and you marry. But I wasn't average. I was dead below average. Now, see, notice the first couple of minutes it sounded like Craig is God's gift to Japan. Now in 2010, Craig is zero. And I do get passionate about it. And if you're not passionate about the possibility that you could be somebody one day and nobody the next, don't come here. But I have to rebuild my life. So I spend a year Japanese classes at the YMCA in the Himeji, an advanced class. I get pretty good. All those people waxed me. My Japanese wasn't nearly as good as I thought it was, to be sure. Mina no Nihongo, a popular textbook, does not take you to the promised land, to be sure. At least it did not in my case. But I rebuilt my life. I found a job, a pretty good job. And my life in Japan became consistent, which is valued here more than Craig. I'm just Craig who went to work. Craig who took overtime. Craig who did everything that the company wanted. And my life went on. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. I get older and more expensive in a company system that rewarded Japanese employees for their longevity with bonus and pay increases. It's great, right? I'm making money. I'm making more money than the principal, relatively speaking. Again, I'm working like 60 hours a week at that point. That's not good. Because teaching little kids and elementary students how to say, this is a pen, anyone can do. And these days, anyone does do. And I was done. Right about the same time as coronavirus came. Again, humbled. And there is a fair amount of pride in wanting to provide for your wife and those who you are responsible for. For sure. I took that hard. And this time there was no Japanese school. There was coronavirus. And as you might expect, finding employment that year did not go well. And you wonder, can you grow without constant validation? You don't get that here in many Japanese companies. You don't get it from your wife, that I can tell you. You don't get it from the other foreigners, and you don't get it from people on the street that, whoa, yoshi, yoshi, you're great. Your internal dialogue of, I am somebody, had better be titanium strength. And I can tell you in 2020, mine was not. And I scrambled and cobbled together to find a job, any job. And I got exactly what I wished for, a job, some job. And so it goes. But that gets personal and not really worth it to you because my situation, as I said early, is different than yours. But then we talk about language. If you cannot function professionally in Japanese, your options narrow. I took the Japanese language proficiency test, JLPT, in December for the first time in several years, trying to quote unquote help myself get a job. I don't think I'm an idiot. I spent like 6 months studying. I've lived here 20 years. I failed. It was close to my credit, but fail. A fail is a fail. A pass is a pass. And I failed. And I have to tell my lovely wife I did fail again, which affects her life and those I care about, and my life and my employment prospects. There's no sugarcoating that. I failed. I failed. I know this video, it seems like a roller coaster up and down. Craig is great. Craig isn't great. Craig is so-so. Craig is crap. Craig is wonderful. Craig is amazing. Craig is cow flop. Welcome to long-term life here for a lot of people. This is not just my story. It's a story of many people, even successful people who find money, love, and all the rest here in Japan. Yes, there are English-based roles. English teaching is a real thing, although the money that comes with it and the work that goes with it has decreased and increased, and a lot of jobs are visa dependent. In my case, a permanent resident, I do have some advantage to getting the part-time work that does not offer visa support. Many companies now, many schools don't even bother with that. If you don't have a visa, don't bother. But outside of that, breaking in is hard because if you've been English teaching like I have, how do you paint yourself in an interview as I'm great when your skills are not a perfect match and your Japanese is not N1, the top level? It's a real thing, not just for me. I know many foreigners who cannot read Japanese at all, who cannot write Japanese at all, who cannot read a hiragana or katakana menu without significant difficulty. That is a real thing. And I know foreigners who have lived here whose health has become terrible, mine included at one point, which is why I'm able to do this video. Is Japanese something you are truly committed to mastering? For many, when you find some job and life gets in the way, study time goes poof. But it can be done. I used to study on the way to my old job during my lunch breaks and on the way home and as I could. And you do get better. I did get better. But perhaps my need to improve just wasn't there. And you can take lessons as you have time. A lot of that's online now. There's a lot of YouTube channels. It is possible to get better. And you might even still work here in Japan, despite what I just lamented about my own personal Japanese level and ability and provable aptitude. I probably will get a decent job at some point. It is possible to live here in Japan and not be great at Japanese. It's not a criticism, but if your Japanese sucks and you have no affinity, aptitude, or time to improve it, and you live here a long time, prepare for a struggle at some point. Next, age and timing in economics. Timing matters. Starting at 22, or in my case, 29, is different from coming here at 40, or 40 plus, or being 50 as I am, pushing 51. It is different. Ageism is a real thing. Don't let anybody tell you that you're special when you're 40 plus here, in any field, as a foreigner especially. No way. Japan's employment system is seniority based. And you're still foreign and you're still old in many contract jobs that now with the labor rules only let you work maximum 5 years. You're out no matter how great you are, and nobody is giving you the seishin full-time employment. Ain't gonna happen. And even when you get it, don't be surprised. The second that you have any kind of health issue, they start to force you out and imagine that magically you are craptacular. Reality. I've seen that. I've experienced it. And of course, now the yen is terrible. Can you build long-term wealth if I have some big dream of going back to America with the current exchange rate? I'd be the most famous Walmart greeter in my town, telling great stories in Spanish, Japanese, and English. Reality. With no money. A lifestyle choice. It is possible here to live on less money and build a life. But no, I'm not going out every day. I used to go out in my early days to the bar 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. I ate out a lot, spent a lot of money, enjoyed my life a lot, as one should. Again, coronavirus changed the culture of that. My employment situation, working a lot in my old company, changed that a lot. But my economics and responsibilities changed that most of all. There's no wrong answer. If you want to come here and blow every yen you have, fine. I have a friend who still goes out every day. He works from his house. He likes going out to the gym and walking. And if he's watching this, I love him a lot. But he spends a lot of money. He probably doesn't have to. It's a choice. And he enjoys his life and has built a great life here and has been back to America and come back a couple of times. And maybe we'll go back again one day. He lives the life. But it's not what it was when I first met him early on here in Japan. And he would tell you that. Some people come here, of course, for safety, not so much from America. Quality of life, again, healthcare and all that. You can go in any of those videos. Yes, healthcare is better here. Yes, I'm probably safer here. Yes, I probably live better than I would alone in America. All of that's true, but not the rule these days as much as the exception, because I've lived here a long time and I came in a point where I could get things like housing secured, a car, transportation, and perhaps I'm a little more able to live a life on the frugal side. But those paths are not the same for everyone. The question is, if you left 5 years from now in Japan, what would you have built here? After 20 years, I don't know. I built stuff here for other people, which is important in my situation. But for me, if I got on a plane this afternoon and went home and applied for a job, I'm not sure how that would go. Hey, wow, you lived in Japan. Really, I've always wanted to go there. I love sushi. Oh, thanks for coming in. What have you been doing for 20 years? Skills, maybe. Savings, a little. Professional network, none. Stability, none. And that's not only for me, but many people who live in America and many people who live here, foreign and Japanese alike. Thinking forward. I've done a poor job of thinking forward. My friend that I just referred to a few minutes ago, same. He would tell you that I did not think forward. I did. I thought forward. I'm okay. I'm working. It'll be okay. But what if I was not working? What if I was not healthy? And what if I were to be really screwed? I had plan A, plan B, and plan C. I can tell you I'm on about plan Y or Z most days. Difficult to think forward because it often becomes a pessimistic way of thinking. And I try to be a positive person, despite some of the gray, grizzled, and gaijin gruffiness that perhaps permeates my Craig Hoffman 11 on Twitter feed. The cultural reality. Japan values harmony. These days, the foreigner intermix, tourist and living here foreigners alike, is not great and not as great or even as good as it was pre-pandemic, and certainly when I first came here. Patience is in short supply on both sides, Japanese and foreigner alike. The ambiguity of where I fit in. I'm not a tourist. I'm not a new foreigner, but I'm not Japanese. Where's my place? Is it sitting on the ground playing card games with 2-year-olds at 50 years old? Probably not. The feedback that used to be, Craig, good job, Otsukare-sama deshita, good work, see you tomorrow, is now, can you do more for the same money? Can you just keep your mouth shut and your opinions to yourself? Can you sit in meetings, smile and nod, and help us do everything, even on your days off, for the same money? And of course, you say yes because you have bills to pay and people who depend on you. Things that I would not have said yes to my first year 20 years ago in Japan. Belonging is complex. Where do I fit? I don't fit in America. I don't completely fit here, to be sure. I don't fit in certain kinds of even English teaching jobs, and I don't know where a 50-year-old employee fits into a company long term. But I need to find a place. Foreigners, of course, here have deep friendships with Japanese people, and foreigners alike, many of them go home. As I said, my friend is one of the few that remain in my area that I still talk to. A lot of the people I knew 20 years ago in the Japan community have died. They were 50, 60, 70 years old. 20 years. 70, 80, 90. They don't get 90, 100, 110. And that hurts. And it becomes an isolated bubble kind of effort, and you stop reaching through the bubble. I often joke, half-heartedly, on Craig Hoffman 11 Twitter about don't talk to me if you don't know me in public. And that's exactly what happens because that's the attitude that I take. And again, no experience is universal. I know for people who are social butterflies, my pal's certainly more popular with the local community these days than I am, but he lives there. And I reflect, what does belonging mean to me? And these days, it means finding a job and having a paycheck, of which I have neither. That's a long-term reality for me, but not everyone. I know foreigners who have English schools. I know foreigners who run businesses. I know foreigners like my friend who work in Japanese companies and do really well, living the proverbial dream. But I know people like me who struggle, and I know people like me who cobble work together that pays nothing. And behind closed doors, they cry. Stability and personal agency is one of the less discussed realities. For many foreigners, employment is tied to visa status. Not mine, but for most people, no job, you go home. And I was an HR kind of thing in my last company. We interviewed people that were literally one day and had overstayed a visa, screwed. And it took a lot of onegaishimasu, please be kind to us, to get that resolved. You go home these days, boys and girls, if you do not have a visa to work here. And again, I won't get into specifics. And even when you get a job, sometimes you're like beholden to a job who sponsors your visa. Then the income is terrible. There are low-paying jobs here. They offer visas. You're here in Japan. You might as well be a hologram for as little as you're going to eat and for nowhere to sleep. It's a real thing even for Japanese people. Living in capsule hotels or couch surfing with friends and family. Are you building portable skills? And when you live here a long time, you might even get someplace to live. You are stuck there through contract or the fact that you do not have the means to move. Are you building professional resilience? Some people do. Some people have a long list. Indeed, in LinkedIn, I went through hundreds of resumes over the years from foreigners. Some of them, wow, why are you applying here? Ouch. And I got that question, why are you applying here? I need to work. I need to eat. Both things take money anywhere you live, especially in Japan. If your company disappeared tomorrow, and there's a lot of small companies and bankruptcies are climbing even here in Japan where it's kind of hard to do that, would you adapt? What do I adapt in 20 years? English teaching to English teaching to English teaching to English teaching. But the market of English teaching and the availability of jobs, especially for somebody 15, I wish I was 15, 50 years old, is difficult to, let's be honest, impossible. That's reality. So I've got to pivot quickly and try to do things. So you see Craig Hoffman 11 on Twitter, pivoting with new Greg Grizzled and Gaijin. Things that reaching out to people for connections. LinkedIn, I updated. Resume updated, cover letter updated, things I have helped people hundreds, if not thousands of times over the years. And it's me again. Flexibility and preparation. I have flexibility. I can do anything. I have preparation. But somebody on the other side of that, company, owner, or school, or business, has to meet me halfway. And at 50, they are in the distance at best. I should close this out because I've gone on and people don't have time. You should be doing more productive things than watching a video if you're thinking about living and working here in Japan a long time. Working in Japan can be deeply rewarding. It's been great. I've had great experiences with teachers, principals I still talk to. I still send New Year's cards to. They were at my wedding. Friends I have, one I spoke fondly of. I love him like a brother, and he knows that. And others too. And I wouldn't change that. A lovely wife I wouldn't replace for anything. And people I depend on, and they depend on me, who I would go to the ends of the earth for. And be careful what you wish for, because here that's exactly what you have to do. But success here, especially as a foreigner, is less about getting hired. Again, there are jobs. There's an employment shortage. Getting work and being mobile for it, you probably do find something. But it's the clarity about why you're here, clarity about what you're willing to sacrifice. I sacrificed everything down to my health that put me in the hospital for weeks and months of recovery. That's a real thing. And if you don't think it can happen to you, get a mirror because you're lying to yourself. Health is a fragile thing. Clarity of what you need to be fulfilled, even with a job, even with health, even with family and a wife. Japan can be pretty hollow. Clarity of what kind of life you're intentionally building, if it's intentional at all and with any real purpose. That gets a lot of people, including myself. Building what? Building to where? Building to why? It's not all gloom and doom. I hope I tried, at least in my mind, to paint an even picture. But if you take some time to reflect on these questions earlier rather than later, in my view, again, humble that it is, you increase your chances of building something sustainable here in Japan, long term, semi long term, at least. Japan can be a beautiful chapter in your life. It can be chapters, plural. And it can also be a one-page nightmare. In the end, just make sure the story that you're writing is intentional, with purpose, and with clarity. As always, thank you for listening and enjoy your life. Until next time. That's it, and have a great, great day.